Join us this week as we install the FastFoot forms, the fast footings, Fab-Form. We get some help to help finish up before the rain comes, and we start building the ICF shed, and finally we get to pour the footings. Come along, the adventure's waiting for you to join us. Well, another audio failure, but here's what's happening. So Peggy and I have been working on installing the FastFoot. You can see one of our longest runs there for the kitchen and guest bedroom that has the supports and the rebar in. We talked a little bit about the dirt sliding in underneath because of the rain, which was a real failure and a concern for FastFoot, but it's just something you need to be aware of and plan for. And here just showing some of our progress on getting the FastFoot fabric put into place for some of our other footings. Here you see Peggy down working on one of the larger footings in the basement, the 48-inch one, where we have our step footings or T intersections. She's putting up the fabric in the corners, working hard while I'm just talking to the camera. Here you can see some of the trenches that we dug in order to drain water out from the flooding. That'll of course all get covered up when they come in to backfill the interior of the basement and put in gravel. For these larger footers, we actually lay out two different runs of FastFoot on either side and then tape them and put a 16-penny nail in periodically in the middle in order to make the seam so that it won't pull apart when the concrete is poured. Okay, third time's a charm. Hey, it is Tuesday, end of day, and just thought I'd give you an end of day work progress. Peggy and I got the 48-inch footer there all in with two different rolls of Fab-Form, one on one side, one on the other. I think they're both the 62s. And then we've used Gorilla tape to tape them. We can add more if we want to. And we also have nails in there to kind of keep the center line there. And then they're going across the back where the sewer line is. That is a 40-inch footing. 36-inch footing by 14, and then over here to this 40-inch footing, and that's kind of where we stopped. So we have this little piece and this piece here to do tomorrow. Tomorrow again, we do have help coming. We have 3 guys. Is that right? Yeah, 3 guys coming tomorrow. So that'll be greatly appreciated to get us over that final hump and ahead of this weather, so that we can quit playing tag with the rain, because that has been a nightmare. That's the update for today. Then we had North Tech Contracting come in. This is the Calvary. These are the guys that are going to help us do the pours when we do the walls. We had them come in to help us get over the hump here for the footings as well. They helped put in, we had all out of the materials already cut. For example, the bracing going across the footings, we had the rebar, the corners all there. They help get all that in place, get it all tied. They have a tying gun, help screw down the bracing going across. Peggy and I did all of the FastFoot work. They didn't do any of that in terms of putting in the plastic, getting it taped. The other thing they did for us is they helped by digging out the concrete washout station that we're required to have by code. Luckily, our excavator gracefully allowed them to use their equipment to get that accomplished. And yet another audio failure. Apologies for the voiceover. This is the end of day after having the cavalry come in and help us. We are ready to pour. We have all the supports in place. I went through and put little pink dots at all the places where the vertical rebar needs to be 16 inches on center. All the rebars in place horizontally. It's all been tied by North Tech Contracting, and we are ready to go. Peggy and I had all the FastFoot in. We have all of our bracing. We added a little bit of extra bracing here and there, but other than that, it was a day well spent with the crew coming in to help get us over that hump, get us ahead of the weather, so we can simply get the pour done. Yeah, you don't really need that for a shed. It's a bit overkill, but that was the idea with the shed is we can use it for putting our tools. It's a 4-inch ICF. Putting our tools during the construction, so we have a place we can lock them up and keep them here on site instead of renting a storage locker somewhere and having to pick them up and drop them off every day. And the other thing is we'll go ahead and side it with some type of a shiplap or siding that we put on the side, and then when we're done, ready to do the house, probably stucco and brick, we'll do the same thing to the shed. We'll take that siding back off, and the window openings that we covered up, which we will put in place in the 4-inch ICF, and then we'll use that as a greenhouse and a shed. We'll put things in there that we don't really, we're too worried about getting stolen, and then use it for a greenhouse so that we can actually grow some vegetables, because you've seen the wildlife we have around here. Otherwise the deer would eat everything, right? So did they ask to play through? That was our thought, but it's going to be regular footings, frost depth, frost wall, and then 4-inch ICF, so it's there to stay. This is the day of our pour, and this is the extra crew that we had come in to help us. They also delivered the Element ICF block that we needed for constructing our shed. In this case, we used a combination of Logic corners, 4-inch, preformed, and Element ICF panels where you insert a 4-inch web or tie to create your own block. It's not ideal to use two different products because the nubs are different and you need to do a full brace everywhere that you have a joint where those two different blocks meet. But that's what we had to work with, and it worked out pretty well. It was a nice foggy morning, and actually it wasn't fog, we were in the clouds. For those of you that don't know, Woodland Park is advertised as the city above the clouds, but sometimes we're in them. So we've offloaded some of the material over by the site of the shed in the background, and here you see them taking the remainder parts of the shed and putting them over into storage so that they're out of the way and we can retrieve them at a later time. Here's our ICF for the shed. It's actually going to be a monopour where we pour the footing and the frost walls in lifts. For those of you that are interested in how we're doing the shed, we're running the same type of rebar structure as in the main house, just not as frequent. We're not doing 16 inches on center. It's actually not required to be engineered by code, certainly not required to be cement and rebar for a shed, but that's the way we're doing it. So we're running a single piece of rebar, alternating those rows, running our vertical dowels up about 24 to 36 inches on center. Then we have the start of our pour. Concrete arrived. Then the boom truck arrived and we got it into position. I did a time lapse, but not too exciting since most of the action here is taking place in the basement. But here it is, sped up greatly. You can see that we had a number of trucks. We ended up using 56 yards of concrete. I believe 5 or 6 different trucks of concrete came up to Woodland Park from the springs. This is the vibration of the monopour for the shed, making sure that the concrete has gone down into the footings and settled before we do the next lift. Here's the start of the basement footers. The crew is putting the concrete into the FastFoot. We already have our rebar, of course, and support structures already in place. As you've seen, they're going to pour the concrete in there, they're going to screed it, and then when we're all done, we will set the dowels at the proper time and wet set them 16 inches on center. Okay, so originally we were going to do the FastFoot monopore system. Bought the monopore legs, and the FastFoot is designed to go and attach to the bottom of the first row, but because we didn't have the block here, we weren't even sure if we were going to be able to do the monopore just from a timing perspective, because we're expecting rain over the next 4 or 5 days off and on. Sometimes it might be heavy. There's a storm even off here that's threatening us right now, and we wanted to make sure that with the crew coming in that I wasn't too worried about the shed. But this is the shed. We did monopore it. That is, we built the footing with the FastFoot. It's like a 12-inch footing, 8 inches tall, and we're using the Element block, but because of they make 4-inch ties for the Element, but they don't make 4-inch corners for it. So we have the old Logix corners here, which is why you see the nubs right here. The little Lego waffle pattern. They're different. They're different for the Logix blocks versus the Element, and that's why you see so much plywood bracing on the in the interior of that and on the exterior, because we're mirroring two different kinds of block that really aren't made to go together. So they're basically cold joints. Anyhow, so that was that, and that'll give us a good foundation for going the rest of the way up. Let's head into the basement. So here we are in the basement. These are our two pads that where the stairway goes, supports the stairway coming down from the first floor. This is the electrical grounding rod that has to be embedded in the footing and then travel up to the wall so they can tap into it when they put in the electrical box. As you can see, the concrete's setting up quite nicely. Let's go over here to the thicker one. These footings right here are 40 inches. The ones going this way are 36 by 14 deep. All these are 14 deep. We've mentioned that before. And then the big one was for this main wall right here, which goes down, and this is a 48-inch by 14 footer, which is why we ended up using 56 yards of concrete for a residential house. It's just massive. It's probably overkill, but that's what our engineer called for, and that's what we have. But luckily, since we were out of square down here, we didn't have to take our footing forms off our rails and redo them. We had so much tolerance here that that extra 3 inches on this side really didn't matter out of 48. Engineers like, I'm not worried about that at all. If it's 3 inches out of a 12-inch footing, sure, then that's a big deal. Can't do that. Okay, that's pretty much it. Long day. I'm gonna move the trash pump hose back into place, so in case it rains, we can still suck the water out of here. Long day, guys. That's it. Thanks for coming along. Okay. Well, it has been a long day. We had a late start because we could only get a 12:45 time from the concrete company. Gotta fix the eyebrows. My wife, I get that crazy Andy Rooney thing going on. Not a great look for an old person, but hey, it is what it is. What you see is what you get. Anyhow, it was a late start because of we had 12:45 for the concrete company, for the pump truck, and for the concrete. And then we had some delays in between the third and fourth truck. We had 56 yards of concrete for this. The pump operator said, "Is this a commercial job?" He was surprised to see that it was residential. The FastFoot, the bags worked really well. Again, my only complaint continues to be that if you don't have the proper excavation and you get torrential rains like we've had from the prior videos, and you get the dirt washing underneath them, that is a complete pain in the butt. Causes a lot of rework. But the crew that's left. They will probably come back and help us get the first row established in the basement. So I'm going to have them help me just to make sure everything's level and we're off on a good footing, no pun intended, for the basement. And so they're going to come back and help with that next week, probably next Thursday or Friday. That gives us a few days to get the French drain in here and for Peggy and I to get in here and remove the bracing that holds the FastFoot and peel that off. But that should at least get us there, and then I'll probably need to order the trusses for the first floor that goes over the basement next week, because Peggy and I have a trip coming up, and we may not be here when we should be doing ICF walls. But that's something we have known for a long time. You just plan your vacations when you can, and it is what it is. But you can see everything looks good, straight through. The contractor that I work with, North Tech Contracting, he's done all kinds of ICF and concrete houses, concrete work. He had never worked with a FastFoot, so he was a little skeptical. And afterwards, I think he was impressed. He said, well, that actually worked better than I thought, especially on those big footings down in the basement, which we're going to head down there. He thought it handled those really well.
All my life I've worked and toiled. I've breathed your